nationwide news network. Comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robian Williams.
In nationwide news at this hour, U.S. President Donald Trump kicks Volodymyr Zelensky from the White House after a public spat.
You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
And a former Jamaica ambassador to the UN says the heated exchange has diminished the dignity of the office of U.S. President.
It is really not representative of what the United States that we have bought into.
The Senate passes legislation to establish Portmore as the country's 15th parish.
Government Senator Abka Fitz-Henley calls on MOCA to probe the Labor Day spending by the PNP-controlled KSAMC.
East Kingston Police set to charge 3 women in connection with the murder of Digicel employee Kevin Walker.
In news from the rest of the world, Guyana urges CARICOM to engage the U.S. on threat of visa sanctions.
Trump to make English the official language of the United States.
In headline sports, champions Jamaica suffers second straight defeat in West Indies women's cricket tournament.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, opposition leader Mark Golding says the fact that renewable sources are not being used to supply more of the country's energy needs is a direct failure of the Holness administration. What are the plans of the next PNP administration for energy? Its opposition spokesman, Philip Paulwell, will join us.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, what's your favorite thing about Jamaica? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, or message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, an Oval Office meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and his Ukrainian counterpart Vladimir Zelensky devolved into a shouting match today.
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yeah, but
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media.
You'll hear more.
And at 8, it's the A-Team with Dennis Brooks.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Friday afternoon, it's the final Friday of February 28, 2025.
News at 5 is brought to you by Fostrich Company Limited, fostering rich customer service.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now the details. CARICOM leaders are being warned to take a careful note of the transactional nature of U.S. foreign policy following a testy Oval Office meeting between President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The meeting descended into a shouting match on Friday. The U.S. president accused the Ukrainian leader of gambling with World War III by refusing to accept the terms of a deal being negotiated to end the war with Russia. Ukraine has not been invited to participate in the negotiations. The unprecedented diplomatic standoff has cast fresh doubts about America's commitment to Ukraine's security in the face of Russian aggression. Ricardo Brooks reports.
Students of international relations, politics, and history no doubt watched in amazement Friday as the U.S. president berated the leader of a country that has been invaded by Russian President Vladimir Putin.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't have. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
The public spat represents a sharp break in U.S. foreign policy. America has given more than $100 billion in military and development aid to Ukraine since Russia's invasion in 2022. Former Jamaican Ambassador Curtis Ward says Friday's exchanges in the Oval Office diminish the dignity of the office of U.S. President.
In terms of what occurred, it is really mind-boggling, and it is really not representative of what the United States that we have bought into stood for over the past decades. I think the dignity of the office was lowered today. I think it tells us once again how transactional President Trump's foreign policy is.
Ambassador Ward, who served as Deputy Permanent Representative to the United Nations with special responsibility for Security Council affairs, says leaders in the Caribbean must take note of how the Ukrainian leader was treated by Trump.
It means you do what we want you to do, because there's not much that Caribbean countries can give in return, but the Trump administration can exact support from Caribbean countries for his administration's policies in the hemisphere. And I think we will see that in terms of Cuba and the most recent designation of Cuba as a state sponsor of terrorism. We'll see that with the increased sanctions coming back on Venezuela.
Trump has threatened tariffs on countries that have not complied with his demands on trade and immigration. Canada and Mexico have faced such threats. Ambassador Ward says there are other areas of concern where Trump may attempt to exert influence in the region.
And we may even see that if there is a serious confrontation of any sort with Panama over the canal. So I think careful countries should look at this and understand the depth of the transactional nature of the Trump foreign policy.
After asking Zelensky to leave on Friday, Trump has told him he can return to the White House when he's ready to make a deal. Ricardo Brooks for Nationwide News.
The Senate has passed legislation to transition Portmore into the country's 15th parish. The bill was passed along party lines in the House of Representatives on February 11. It was approved by the upper house, where the Jamaica Labour Party also has the majority after a marathon sitting on Friday. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
Leader of Government Business in the Senate, Kamina Johnson-Smith, piloted the bill through the upper house. She described the parish designation for Portmore as a historic move.
The history of creation, designation, formation, dissolution, and absorption of parishes and resulting redrawing of parish boundaries in Jamaica was a constant feature, but something in our history that has only ever been done by our former colonizers. This government has the strong belief and vision that the acts of the British up to 1867 will not be the sum total of parish development history of Jamaica land we love. I would add that under colonial rule, very little thought, if any, was given to the well-being of the population, and in sharp contrast, our efforts to make Portmore Jamaica's 15th parish is a move that has the best interests of the people at heart.
Leader of Opposition Business Peter Bunting argued that the move will have significant impact on several electoral boundaries. He decried the legislation as an overt political ploy.
This brazen, undemocratic, and dangerous piece of legislation that seeks to undermine Jamaica's hard-earned democratic traditions. Let me be unequivocal. This bill is not about progress. This bill is not about governance. This bill is not about the betterment of Portmore. This bill is a cynical political maneuver designed to subvert democracy and manipulate the electoral boundaries for partisan gain.
However, Government Senator Marlon Morgan defended the designation. He says parish status will not hurt the residents of Portmore, it will only better their lives.
No credible or compelling arguments can be conveyed or articulated as to how parish status will undermine, detract from, or in any way be deleterious or inimical to Portmore and its citizens. And so, Mr. President, the question is, what does Portmore stand to lose in becoming Jamaica's 15th parish? Indeed, what do the residents of Portmore stand to lose with Portmore becoming Jamaica's 15th parish? I think the answer to that is pellucid. Quite clear.
But Opposition Senator Damian Crawford argues otherwise.
The JLP boundary reduced the number of kilometers of roads and by extension reduced the probability of funds coming to Portmore. So if Portmore under boundary A have 1 kilometer and the island have 10, Portmore will get less if under boundary B they had 2 kilometers and the island still have 10. Now unless we have plans to expand the island, because they might now go and capture all Haiti now if we make them vote. If Haiti can vote for them win the election, they will do. Therefore, the boundary that the ECJ proposed, the boundary that the ECJ found to be reasonable in communication with both political parties, would have given Portmore more than the current boundaries that they are suggesting. That's the real more for Portmore.
The bill passed with 10 ayes, there were 4 nays, and 4 senators were absent. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is seeking to assure residents of Portmore that parish status will bring several benefits.
We're putting in the parks. I've just toured certain roadworks that are being done, capital works that will improve significantly the traffic flow in the community. But not just traffic, it will improve water, it will improve broadband, it will improve sewage. I saw recently Minister Tufton announcing that he's now ready to move on lands which we have declared for the hospital in Portmore, in Bernard Lodge, and there are other facilities in the works. The people of Portmore can rest assured that they will have all the facilities that are accustomed to a parish and even more.
Dr. Holness says Portmore as a parish will feature stronger local governance.
Once it is established as a parish, the way in which local governance is administered has to change, and local governance must take on greater focus on how it builds the local economy. Anywhere else in the world, when you talk about local government, that's their focus. They have a municipal focus, which is the efficient running of cities and urban areas, making sure your garbage is collected, traffic is managed, and utilities are provided. But another key element is the attraction of business. And that's what we want our local governments to do.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. He was speaking during a tour of the Portmore Resilience Park project in St. Catherine on Friday.
There is a call emanating from the Parliament for the Major Organised Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA, to probe Labour Day spending by the PNP-controlled Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC. Government Senator Abka Fitz-Henley made the call in the Senate on Friday. Dana Davey reports.
In making the call, Senator Fitz-Henley says the Mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby, has questions to answer.
Is it true that scores of PNP caretakers were sent to a hardware on Mountain View Avenue to pick up supplies to give them political scarce benefits and spoils and to fund their Labour Day activities in May 2024? And did the KSAMC pay monies to this hardware which turned over millions of dollars in supplies to PNP caretakers? These are new and additional pieces of information which suggest that there is organized criminality, Senator Bunting, at the KSAMC under the leadership of Mayor Andrew Swaby.
The questions from Senator Fitz-Henley were raised as the PNP KSAMC corruption scandal is deepening. Fitz-Henley said he cannot rely on Mayor Swaby for a sincere answer. The government senator is calling on the anti-corruption body to step in.
And consequently, I make a call for the Major Organised Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA, and the Auditor General to launch an investigation into spending by the KSAMC during Labour Day 2024.
Senator Fitz-Henley also renewed his call for the resignation of PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell and Mayor Swaby. The government senator has pushed back at Campbell's dismissal of the call for his resignation.
And I've heard Dr. Campbell on political platforms across the country drawing a false comparison between him and an icon of the dance hall. A false comparison, sir, because the comparison he drew with Rodney Bounty Killer Price, a man who sang Poor People Fed Up, is contrary to the posture taken by the exponent of the music, who I'm pretty sure would not countenance malfeasance and hanky-panky concerning use of public funds. I say to Dr. Campbell that if he knows what we know, his time would be better spent directing his PNP cronies at the KCMC to take them sticky finger of poor people money.
Dana Davy for Nationwide News.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is...
It's 16 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 Southwest in Montego Bay.
The NWC's bill-free promotion is here. Be one of 350 persons to get $20,000 water credit when you pay your bill in full every month until March 31, 2025. And there's more. Oh yes, you can win $300,000, $200,000 or $100,000 cash in the NWC's bill-free promotion if you register for e-bill and pay your bill in full every month until March 31. Conditions apply. Visit nwcjamaica.com for details. Authorized under Section 58(3) of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act, a part of the NWC's bucket full of goodies.
Continuing the news. Police investigators in East Kingston are expected to charge 3 women in connection with the disappearance and murder of Digicel employee and businessman Kevin Walker. Walker was last seen on the evening of February 1 after renting a car from a small company in Almond Town. He was reported missing a day later. DNA examinations have since revealed that the body of a man found dumped in a barrel on Industrial Terrace in Kingston earlier this month is that of Walker. The police were probing whether Walker was beaten and tortured to provide his personal banking information to the attackers. It's understood officers from the JCF's Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Branch, CTOC, and the Crime Officer for Kingston East flagged suspicious transactions on Walker's account. They include a transfer of $700,000 from his account to an NCB account under the name Alicia Dixon. It's also alleged that the suspects used Walker's credit cards to make purchases at Carlisa and Gibo Trading. A person of interest in the case, Donovan McFarlane, was fatally shot by the police on February 11. The police have also taken 19-year-old Teje Thompson, otherwise called Tico, into custody. 2 other suspects, LaVar Witter and a man known by the alias Shano, remain at large.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
Guyana's Vice President Bharat Jagdeo has urged Caribbean community leaders to jointly engage with the U.S. on the implications of visa sanctions against governments that use Cuba's overseas medical missions. The U.S. has announced that it will not issue visas to foreign government officials who support and benefit from the medical program. This includes current or former Cuban government officials and individuals involved in the Cuban labor export program, particularly its overseas medical missions. The policy also applies to the immediate family of such persons. Like several other countries in the region, Guyana has long benefited from importing nurses and other medical professionals from Cuba to fill shortages in their public healthcare systems. News source Guyana reports that Jagdeo believes the issue has the potential to significantly impact countries across the Caribbean.
Donald Trump was expected to sign an executive order today making English the official language of the United States. White House officials say the move would scrap requirements that federal agencies provide language services to non-English speakers. The U.S. has never had an official language in the nearly 250 years since the country was founded. The order is intended to improve government efficiency and promote national unity, according to White House officials. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, nearly 68 million of the country's 340 million residents speak a language other than English. This includes more than 160 Native American tongues.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, U.S. President Donald Trump kicks Volodymyr Zelensky from the White House after a public spat.
And a former Jamaica ambassador to the UN says the exchange has diminished the dignity of the office of U.S. President.
The Senate has passed legislation to make Portmore the country's 15th parish.
Government Senator Abka Fitz-Henley calls on MOCA to probe the Labor Day spending by the PNP-controlled KSAMC.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
And listeners, you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
News at 5 was brought to you by Fosrich Company Limited, fostering rich customer service.
Ready to take your investments to new heights? Look no further. Barita Investments Limited just scored an A+ credit rating from CariCris. This affirms that your money is stable with a team dedicated to financial strength and expertise. Join the ranks of satisfied investors who trust Barita to deliver results. Don't just invest, elevate your financial journey with Barita Investments today. Call us at 888-429-5333 or visit any of our locations at Kingston, Montego Bay or Mandeville.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Champions Jamaica suffered a second straight defeat at the West Indies CG United Women's Super 50 tournament, going down by 54 runs to Barbados at Connery today. Barbados first made 199 for 3 from their 50 overs. Asabi Calendar made 54 and Nijani Cumberbatch 39 against Vanessa Watts 2 for 39. In response, Jamaica were bowled out for 145 in 44 overs and 3 balls. Captain Rashada Williams, 48, and former captain Stefani Taylor, 31, scored most runs. Keela Elliott claimed the 4 for 27, Shamilia Connell, 3 for 24. Jamaica will next be in action against the Leeward Islands on Monday. The Leeward Islands suffered a third straight defeat. They lost by a crushing 122 runs to Guyana at Warner Park. The Leewards were skittled out for 56 in 24 overs after they were set 179 to win. Ashmini Munisar claimed the 4 for 27, while Flatiana Millington and Cherry and Fraser bagged the 3 wickets apiece. Guyana's total of 178 was built around captain Charmaine Campbell, 77 not out, Reliana Grimond, 30, and Ashmini Munisar, 30. Over at St. Paul's, Trinidad and Tobago registered a 9-wicket win over the Windward Islands. The Trinis raced to 71 for 1 in just 14 overs after bowling out the Windward Islands for 70. World and Olympic gold medalist Sherika Jackson is among several stars who have been listed for the National World Indoor Qualifiers at the GC Foster College come tomorrow. Jackson will run in Heat 3 of the women's 60 meters. She'll get competition from teammates Janelle Smith and Shakoria Wallace. Heat 1 will feature the likes of Tina Clayton, Lavanya Williams, and Jodine Williams, with Natasha Morrison, Sasha Lee Forbes, and Serena Cole the main contenders in Heat 2. Olympic silver medalist Keyshawn Thomas will be the highlight of the men's race, where he'll run from Heat 2. Shayton Smith of St. Mary's High posted the fastest time going into this afternoon's final of the under-17 girls 100 meters at the Carifta Trials, now underway at GC Foster College. Smith posted 11.92 seconds to win Heat 2. Malia Duncan of St. Jago was second, 12.09, and Edwin Allen's Daniela Clark third, 12.21.
Off and running the likes of Jarrett Blake, Smith, Duncan, Clark, Allen, Murray. On the 17 girls, Heat 1 of 2, St. Jago or Smith 11.92, that's the official time. Duncan 12.09, Clark 12.21.
Heat 2 went to Adora Campbell in Jago, 11.94. Rihanna Scott of Ferncourt, third, 12.02. And Tashana Godfrey of Eden Island, third, 12.06.
Gunn sends them off and running, and Godfrey looks to be in the lead here. Adora Campbell coming up on her outside, and it's Adora Campbell, and then it looks like Rihanna Scott, and then Godfrey in third. And Campbell, as I thought, would have gotten it, 11.94 for Campbell. Scott in second, 12.02, and Godfrey third, 12.06.
On the boys' side, Michael Graham of Excelsior posted the fastest time, winning Heat 2 in 10.55. Mario Ross was second, 10.96, and Omari Thomas third, 11 seconds on the nose.
Gunn sends them off and running, and Ross gets up to his running. Also going well is Graham. Graham goes past Ross, and Graham is going to win. Michael Graham of Excelsior, 10.55. He's happy with that. That has sent a signal.
And a commentary from Track Alerts in the under-20 girls 100 meters prelim. Sabrina Dockery of Lacovia High goes into that final with the fastest time, 11.32. Tyrese Foreman is the fastest man going into the men's final at 10.37 seconds. Aston Villa booked their spot in the FA Cup quarterfinals with a 2-0 win over championship side Cardiff City thanks to Marco Arsenio's double in the second half. Cardiff frustrated Villa throughout the first hour of the game with goalkeeper Ethan Hovart making 7 saves before Marcus Rashford and Arsenio linked up in the 68th minute for the opener. He netted his second of the night 12 minutes later to ensure Unai Emery's men progressed to the next round. Villa will now eagerly await Sunday's draw, which is scheduled to take place after Manchester United hosts Fulham at Old Trafford to discover who they'll meet in the last 8.
Tielemans, Rashford, and the first-time shot finally beats Cardiff and their goalkeeper Horvath, who's had some inspired moments. It's Marco Asensio, and Villa, just shy of 70 minutes into this cup tie, finally have their noses in front. Bailey. Asensio, 2. And that should do it for Villa. That ought to ensure that theirs is the first name through to the last 8 of this season's FA Cup.
Minister of Sport Olivia Grange has sought to allay fears that the resurfacing of the running track at the National Stadium would affect several events set for the venue. Some of the major events scheduled for the National Stadium include the CONCACAF Champions Cup between Cavalier and Lionel Messi's Inter Miami on March 13. There's also the Issa Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Champs March 24 to 29 and Grand Slam Athletics Series in April. Minister Grange says she received the assurances of Rick Rutan, Vice President of the North American region Doug Stone, that the work is on schedule.
They are very confident that they will complete the work in time for Champs. They showed me the work plan, walked me through it, indicated some of the issues that exist on the ground. They said they have found some areas where they have to cut out and treat. They'll work day and night so that the schedule that have been worked out we will meet those deadlines. Well, they have washed the track. They're going to wash it again. They are doing the scope right now, looking at areas, special areas that will need special treatment. But they are working with the coordination of IPL.
Minister Grange is conscious that several Jamaicans are interested and eager to witness Leo Messi play in Jamaica for the first time when his Inter Miami side had travelled for the game against Cavalier, and she's assuring football fans that the work will not affect the football pitch itself.
Based on the work plan, I noticed that the date for the football is also a part of that plan. So they have factored that in, which means that it will not delay the work, it will not affect the work going on.
Minister of Sport Olivia Grange. At Sports Though, we're going to be back with more at 6:05 this evening.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Since 2016, 156,000 more Jamaicans are working. This is more than any other time in our history. Your government is caring for you.
The time brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister is
5:30.
Enough power tool, big to small. Chakama figure dig the wall.
Our Total Tools.
Weed waka figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total Tools.
We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When you say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston.
And lot C6 Jacksaw, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
Digicel, live life your way, not free what? Digicel postpaid. With Digicel postpaid, it's all about you. Sign up or pay your bills to stay active for a chance to win a luxurious all-expense paid trip for two to Royalton, Antigua. With round-trip flights on us, every week you could win exciting prizes. Event tickets, gym memberships, spa packages, excursion adventures, restaurant vouchers, and more. When you opt in on the My Digicel app, life your way starts now with Digicel. Better connected.
Promotion ends March 31. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Attention! The NWC's amnesty package is here, overflowing with a bucket full of goodies from January 2 to March 31, 2025. Disconnected for over 6 months, residential customers can get a 50% write-off. Pensioners and past beneficiaries get a full write-off on balances over 2 years. Do you have outstanding debt between 90 days and 2 years due to an underground leak? You may qualify for a 25% concession. Plus, enjoy discounts from 30 to 50% depending on your arrears. So, don't delay. Let's hear from you today. Dial 888-225-5692 or 888-CALL NWC. The NWC's amnesty package. Get your share from our bucket full of goodies. Conditions apply.
Since 1995, we've been your go-to source for everything related to billiards, amusement machines, and electronics. With locations at 1A Lindsay Terrace, Kingston 10, and the Village Plaza, Big Bridge, Savannah Lamar, we offer top-quality pool table parts and accessories, cutting-edge gaming machines, and more. We also specialize in assembly, sales, and service of amusement machines. We provide unmatched customer service, expert solutions, and products tailored to your needs. Who are we? We are Eclipse Enterprise. Telephone 876-960-3891.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
None of mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all schoolers who are taking them.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team. Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
It's the weekend and the youth are taking over the airwaves. Yes, we are the new voices and faces of the Talk Up Youth radio show. The voice of the Jamaican youth right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
After a busy week of work and school, come and wine with Jamaica's #1 youth radio show.
We're bringing you entertainment, fun facts, and staying true to youth development and advocacy.
Catch the action each and every Saturday as we roll out buzzy segments. What say you?
Youth for chat,
life skills,
global connect, and Bust the Youth.
That's the Talk Up Youth radio show. Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. Talk Up Youth, Miss Effie.
Talk Up Youth. Don't miss it.
Exciting news! The Design Studio on Nationwide 90 FM just got a whole lot bigger. Join us this and every Saturday now from 1 to 3 p.m. for an exclusive show that elevates your home, mind, and soul. Discover the latest interior design trends to create your dream sanctuary. Unlock your true potential with personal growth strategies. Nourish your body and spirit with expert wellness tips. Don't miss out on the inspiration you need to live your best life. Tune in to the Design Studio this and every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. and take the first step towards a more fulfilling you.
Make me sweat, make me harder.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
How are you?
Doing quite well.
Good. Happy Friday to you, our listeners. All right, so we're turning our attention now to the matter of energy, specifically the PMP's plans for the sector. The opposition leader, Mark Golding, has said that the fact that the renewable sources are not being used to power more of the country's energy needs is a direct failure of the Holness administration. Golding made the argument while addressing supporters at a spot meeting at Independence Park in Savannah Lamar in central Westmoreland on Wednesday.
In 9 years, they have done nothing to move the needle forward, except for one RFP that finally went out just the other day. But they had 9 years and they did nothing. We are committed to bringing down the price of electricity by expanding investment in renewable energy, solar, wind, waste-to-energy, hydro, whatever it may be. Philip Paul is on the case and he's working hard. And he's going to deliver for Jamaica like he did before when it came to telecoms, where he smashed the monopoly of cable and wireless and brought cellular phone into Jamaica with more than one provider. And Jamaica was ahead of the game at that time.
Mark Golding there, the opposition leader.
Joining us to discuss further is the opposition spokesman on energy himself, Philip Paulwell. Good afternoon, Sir Paulwell.
Good afternoon, Mr. Paulwell.
Good afternoon to you and to your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you too.
So, I think this is one topic a lot of Jamaicans would agree on, that Jamaica's energy prices are significantly higher, and I think if we could tackle that in a meaningful way, that could really be a game changer for the country. So let me ask you, Mr. Paul, what do you see as the fault now on the Holness administration, and what would you do differently?
Well, I just believe that the government dropped the ball in 2016 when we had established policies and projects to take us much further than where we are today. In fact, when we left office in 2016, because of the work that we had done in diversifying energy sources, our price had moved from about 40 US cents per kilowatt hour to about 23, 26 cents averaging at that time. Today, the price is back up. Sometimes if you check your bills when you get them, it's between 40 and I've seen bills up to 50 US cents per kilowatt hour, which makes Jamaica one of the most expensive destinations, not only for energy, but for all of our productive enterprises. Energy is by far the most important element, and the reason why we haven't seen growth in the economy. So in both ways, it affects us, the consumer at home, because the price of electricity at home is too expensive, and very importantly, our producers, whether you're involved in the production of goods or in services, Jamaica cannot compete.
But Mr. Powell, I wonder, because I recall during that same period of time, wasn't there a significant reduction in the price of oil and other energy products because of a crash in the market at the time?
The price of oil has fluctuated to and fro. I attributed the success of our administration to the dramatic shift from in 2013, we were generating electricity using about 95% heavy fuel oil and diesel. By the time we got to 2016, with all that was in place, and today we see now LNG is generating about 60% of the electricity needs of the country. But we did leave in place a plan to transform Jamaica. We had started with the Wigton Wind Farm, and we had expanded it to the single largest solar plant in Jamaica at the time, and Content, Clarendon. We expanded Victon twice, and we also put in place another wind farm in St. Elizabeth. But for us to get to 50%, and since 2016, the JLP government has set a target of 50% renewables by 2030. We are not going to achieve that because of the slow pace at which, in fact, as the leader of the opposition has mentioned, nothing has happened in this 9-year period, save and except for an RFP, which the government belatedly put in place. If we had done all of the transformation using solar, our price of electricity today would be a fraction of what it is now.
And what do you credit, what do you put down to that slow pace? What do you think is causing that?
Yes. Well, we have had about 4 energy ministers in the period. You know that there were some major issues with energy and the government. So there wasn't the focus that was necessary. The review of the electricity law, which we passed in 2015, and which review was slated to take place by 2020, it is just now being done in 2025. So I believe that the government really did not continue the work and did not see the importance of energy in this whole growth milieu. I think they are recognizing that now, but it's far too late. We have a plan that is going to dramatically and radically change energy in Jamaica, especially in the electric side, for good.
And how?
Yes.
How does the plan that that you have, and we hope to get? Are you hearing me, Mr. Powell?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Yes, I'm saying, how does the plan that you have, and you hope to get more details, how does that speed up the sort of expansion that you're talking about this afternoon?
Okay, well, our plan is to recognize the dramatic improvement in technology and the lowering of cost for solar energy, which has happened in the last 5 years. The government recently, and I'm just giving an example of where the price is at. No, the government recently, and I said belatedly, went to the market by way of a competitive bidding system. And they got, for, in one case, 50 megawatts, a price of below 7 US cents per kilowatt hour. That is what solar is generating at today. So if we had done this 5 years ago, the country would have benefited a lot better than we have now. And when we get to office, we're not only going to put in this 100 megawatts, which won't happen for another 15 or so months, but we're going to double that immediately to procure another 100 to enhance what is there. We're going to be using solar in a way that is going to enable Jamaican residents using their rooftop to not only generate for themselves, but also to be able to distribute to the grid in a massive expansion of the use of solar. We have a plan that is going to reduce the cost of electricity just by this effort by 20%, because today, when you pay for your electricity, you're paying not only for your use, but for those who steal electricity. And for the last 3 years, we have put to the Parliament a proposal for debate. It has not happened, but we are going to make it happen because, again, we are going to be able to use solar technology. The most amazing aspect of that has been storage. For the early days of renewables, the problem has been that it is intermittent. So the sun comes up 8:30, 9 o'clock, and it goes down 4:35, and then there's no electricity. Today, with the ability of battery technology, you can now do almost 24/7 renewables, solar, with a price that is far less than using heavy fuel oil and diesel.
We're up on a break, Mr. Baldwell, but I would like to come back to you and talk about financing of these projects. So please stay with us.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
It's 5:45.
Deposit we have insurance. It's an account that come with assurance. Let me teach you why it's important to have deposit insurance. Just in case your bank crash dead. No need to put your hands by your head. Up to 1.2 million you get for all accounts that's affected. Yeah, one room you can start it, or throw a house party. Pay your mortgage with ease. JDIC is a smart win. Deposits we bring safety. JDIC them protect me. Bank and billing society protected. The flow you must get with. Protect your savings smart. We urging you to call me. Guarantee you need us. We take banking serious.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
You ever get bun yet? The bun was sweet you so much you can't resist. Me not talk about heartbreak. Me not talk about the bun with full of spice, raisin, and the perfect glaze. Mother's Bakery Easter bun. This is the bun where everybody need this Easter. If you don't get bun, you not live life right. Mother's Bakery Easter bun. Get the best type of bun from the right people. Mother's Bakery Easter bun. The bun you have to get with love in every bite. Available in select supermarkets.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We're talking energy with the opposition spokesman on energy, Philip Paulwell. Mr. Paul, just before Siobhan goes to the matter of financing, in compiling the plan that the People's National Party has for energy, have you considered whether there is any kind of widespread appetite for the utilization of solar energy? Because, for example, I know the costing can be a huge burden. I think the cheapest one I saw was something like $19,000, and then there was the matter of maintenance. So how do we cross that hurdle?
Well, in the last 5 years, I can go back to the time when I put in place a solar system at my home. The price was very prohibitive. Today, the price of panels and the technology for panels that has fallen dramatically. The price of inverters that has gone down as well, but the most dramatic reduction in prices has been that of storage, batteries. So once you promote it properly and effectively, and once you put in the incentives, that is, to encourage people to generate for themselves, but also to generate more than they need to sell to the grid, I think there will be sufficient encouragement incentives for it to make financial sense. People's electricity will be reduced by at least 50%.
What do those incentives look like?
Well, I'm explaining that when you sell whatever you produce that is in excess of what you need, the JPSCO will have to pay you for that. And we'll have to ensure that a pricing formula exists that is going to encourage people towards it. But notwithstanding, just by your taking in the initiative to install for yourself solar power will enable you to cut your electricity bill at home substantially now. One of the things that we are pushing is to enable those persons who are involved in export manufacturing and services, those in exclusive economic zones, for them to be able to generate their own electricity using solar as well, it is going to enable a dramatic reduction in the price of electricity.
I hear you, Mr. Powell, but I mean, I tried to do a
It sounds
costing.
easy.
I tried to do a costing for solar panels for my little 2-bedroom recently, and I was looking at something that's in excess of $100,000. And I mean, I really had to balance that with other things like mortgages, electricity bill as it stands now, food, and I have to say, well, I mean, even if we were looking at gains in the long term, the upfront cost was just was not feasible for me. How would the government tackle that?
I didn't finish your point. Because just before the break, you asked me about funding. And one of the reasons why we had established a hedge fund that has been misused to date is to enable us to do this transformation, this diversification. So we collect a few $2 billion per annum. That will go towards providing low-cost loans, and in some cases, as we pursue the reduction of electricity theft. Grants, there's no reason why we could not initiate a plan to establish mini stations in communities where people can connect and to rid ourselves of this horrendous cost. We, as persons who pay electricity, pay for electricity now, between 17 and 20% of that bill is the cause of electricity theft. And I believe it more than warrants using the hedge money for that. Plus, in this day and age of climate change and with all the green funds that exist, we have already done the investigation and we are aware that there are international bodies that will enable the provision of funding once we can show that what we're using it for is to lower the amount of carbon that is generated through the use of fossil fuels.
So you're talking about the SCT that is currently used, the SCT collected from the fuel tax, essentially.
No. You have SCT plus you have this fuel tax. We refer to it as a hedge fund tax. That's a separate tax, you know.
But isn't it an expansion of the existing SCT?
No. It's a separate tax that was put in place to enable us to use that money to transform our use of energy that has never been used for that purpose. We believe it needs to be redirected because the overall benefit to the country will be significant. You're going to be lowering your oil bill. You're going to be lowering the electricity bill. You're going to be making your productive sector that much more efficient.
So what is your understanding as to where that hedge money, as you put it, currently goes? Because
it's in the general pool of funds. So it's a matter of earmarking. It's a matter of prioritizing. If we say that we have to pivot to growth, there's no better way to achieve growth in Jamaica than by lowering the cost of energy.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Powell, should you become the energy minister, this wouldn't be your first rodeo. It would be your first time holding the post. I want you to tell Jamaicans, explain to them this afternoon, why they should have confidence that you are the best person for the job, considering in the past when you did hold the portfolio, it was dogged by significant controversies.
Well, you know, it is interesting you say that because one of the major efforts that we have to do now as we get into office is to deal with the JPSCO license. I dealt with a license some time ago. That was the Cable and Wireless license, which saw the tremendous, the almost revolution that took place with telecommunications. And I think even you will admit that that was a major success.
Absolutely.
We have to now look at the JPSCO license, and you know we only have until July of this year to signal to JPS what the government intends to do. Unlike the Cable and Wireless license that had 50 years, we have 2 years to go. A lot can be achieved by the renegotiation of this license, plus the track record that I have since 2012, when we moved from 90% fossil fuel, heavy fuel oil and diesel, to 60% natural gas, which many people saw was amazing, while at the same time establishing Wigton Wind Farm 1, 2, and 3, and the solar project Content and the other wind farm. I believe the track record is quite. Even if I'm trying to be immodest, it's quite impressive. And,
to the point that it outweighs the controversies, Soltria, the Cuban light bulb scandal, the cement fiasco, NetServe.
Well, you can go back to 50 years ago. I'm telling you what was achieved in 2012 to 2016, and that is admirable.
So you don't think the Jamaican people should consider what happened before 2012?
Well, of course, and that is the telecoms revolution, where we brought in digital, the price of electricity, of telecommunications came down. Jamaica was the leading country in the Caribbean. Those achievements are badge of honor.
But I mean, in the balance of things, though, as we both agree, energy seems to be the one driving force that over the past few decades we have not been able to solve, because in my living memory, I can't remember a time when I felt that my light bill was reasonable comparative to our neighbors.
I can't recall what happened in 2016. As I mentioned to you, and you can check the records, when we left office, the price had fallen from 40 US cents to between 23 and 26. That, to me, is a mighty achievement.
So why did that not translate to people's electricity and light bills, though, Mr. Paul? Because I don't think any Jamaican would say, wait, when did I ever receive a 20, because that's 20 to 30% reduction in my light bill? I don't think any Jamaican can reasonably say they felt that.
Well, I can tell you what it was in 2016. I can tell you what it is today. The price of electricity is one of the main reasons why people are expressing disappointment with this government. The fact that there is widespread suffering, the fact that they can't afford basic food, is because of the price of electricity. It is at its highest, and it is going to mount even greater if we do not do something about it. And we do have a solution, as I did with telecommunications. So today you can get free Wi-Fi in communities.
Philip Paulwell is the opposition spokesman on energy. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Me too. All the rest.
All right.
Have a good afternoon, Sir Paulwell.
Well, it's that year, listeners. We're going to be trying to assess the policy proposals.
I would love to hear the current energy minister's feelings about this matter as well, because I think, as I said at the outset, we all agree Jamaica's energy costs are astronomical, and they need to come down for us to really achieve anything.
Yeah. All right, that's the cover story. The headlines are next.
Exciting news! The Design Studio Nationwide 90 FM just got a whole lot bigger. Join us this and every Saturday now from 1 to 3 p.m. for an exclusive show that elevates your home, mind, and soul. Discover the latest interior design trends to create your dream sanctuary. Unlock your true potential with personal growth strategies. Nourish your body and spirit with expert wellness tips. Don't miss out on the inspiration you need to live your best life. Tune in to the Design Studio this and every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. and take the first step towards a more fulfilling you.
Make me sweat, make me harder.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come in, let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Those oldies but goodies reminds me of you.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide Headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. CARICOM leaders are being warned to take careful note of the transactional nature of U.S. foreign policy following a testy Oval Office meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The meeting descended into a shouting match on Friday. Students of international relations, politics, and history no doubt watched in amazement on Friday as the U.S. President berated the leader of a country that has been invaded by Russian President Vladimir Putin.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
The public spat represents a sharp break in U.S. foreign policy. America has given more than $100 billion in military and development aid to Ukraine since Russia's invasion in 2022. Former Jamaican Ambassador Curtis Ward says Friday's exchanges in the Oval Office diminished the dignity of the office of the U.S. President.
In terms of what occurred, it is really mind-boggling, and it is really not representative of what the United States that we have bought into stood for over the past decades. I think the dignity of the office was lowered today. I think it tells us once again how transactional President Trump's foreign policy is.
Curtis Ward, former Jamaican ambassador. After asking Zelensky to leave on Friday, Trump told him he can return to the White House when he's ready to make a deal. The Senate has passed legislation to transition Portmore into the country's 15th parish. The bill was passed along party lines in the House of Representatives on February 11. It was approved by the upper house, where the Jamaica Labour Party also has the majority after a marathon sitting on Friday. Leader of Opposition of Business, Peter Bunting, Senator Peter Bunting that is, argued that the move will have significant impact on several electoral boundaries. He decried the legislation as an overt political ploy.
This brazen, undemocratic, and dangerous piece of legislation that seeks to undermine Jamaica's hard-earned democratic traditions. Let me be unequivocal. This bill is not about progress. This bill is not about governance. This bill is not about the betterment of Portmore. This bill is a cynical political maneuver designed to subvert democracy and manipulate the electoral boundaries for partisan gain.
That's Peter Bunting, opposition senator. However, government senator Marlon Morgan defended the designation. He says parish status will not hurt the residents of Portmore. It will only better their lives.
No credible or compelling arguments can be conveyed or articulated as to how parish status will undermine, detract from, or in any way be deleterious or inimical to Portmore and its citizens. And so, Mr. President, the question is, what does Portmore stand to lose in becoming Jamaica's 15th parish? Indeed, what do the residents of Portmore stand to lose with Portmore becoming Jamaica's 15th parish? I think the answer to that is pellucid, quite clear.
Marlon Morgan, government senator. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is seeking to assure residents of Portmore that parish status will bring several benefits.
We're putting in the parks. I've just toured certain roadworks that are being done, capital works that will improve significantly the traffic flow in the community. But not just traffic, it will improve water, it will improve broadband, it will improve sewage. I saw recently Minister Tufton announcing that he's now ready to move on lands which we have declared for the hospital in Portmore, in Bernard Lodge, and there are other facilities in the works. The people of Portmore can rest assured that they will have all all the facilities that are accustomed to a parish and even more.
That's Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. He was speaking during a tour of the Portmore Resilience Park project in St. Catherine on Friday. Police investigators in East Kingston are expected to charge 3 women in connection with the disappearance and murder of Digicel employee and businessman Kevin Walker. Walker was last seen on the evening of February 1 after renting a car from a small company in Almontown. He was reported missing a day later. DNA examinations have since revealed that the body of a man found dumped in a barrel on Industrial Terrace in Kingston earlier this month is that of Walker. The police were probing whether Walker was beaten and tortured to provide his personal banking information to the attackers. It's understood that officers from the JCF's Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Branch and the Crime Officer for Kingston East flagged suspicious transactions on Walker's account. They include a transfer of $700,000 from his account to an NCB account under the name Alicia Dixon. It's also alleged that the suspects used Walker's credit cards to make purchases at Carlisa and Gibbo Trading. Those are the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Sports is next.
The future is here with Infinity Cooperative Credit Union Jamaica Limited. Educom and Gateway have joined forces to bring you more convenience, innovation, and opportunities to achieve your dreams. Enjoy excellent service and seamless financial solutions, all designed for your lifestyle. Whether it's loans, savings, or insurance, we're here to make your financial journey effortless. Infinity Cooperative Credit Union Jamaica Limited, where possibilities are endless.
With so much to do in one location, make Megamart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills. Fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Megamart, the best value by far.
You can have it all. Company events, birthday parties, or the wedding of your dreams. It's all possible at Grand Palladium Hotels and Resorts. We have magnificent event rooms and a dedicated team that will make your event the best experience that only Grand Palladium Hotels and Resorts can offer. Contact us at 876-619-0000 or call your favorite travel agency and ask about our promotion designed especially for you.
Undeniable that we should be together.
The true beauty of music is that it connects people. It carries a message. It speaks to you. It changes you. And that's exactly what we do just for you every Sunday as we take you to Urban Paradise, 9:10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Urban Paradise is our weekly musical journey that will serve up 110 glorious minutes of positive storytelling through music, mixed in with inspirational features to provoke thought and to heal the soul.
Like a dream come true, just wanna be with you.
So join me, Diane Ashton Smith, this and every Sunday, 9:10 a.m. to 11 a.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. Urban Paradise, opening our hearts, connecting to others.
Good evening with your sports report. I'm Alric Swaby. We bowl things off with some cricket as champions Jamaica suffered a second straight defeat at the West Indies CG United Women's Super 50 tournament, going down by 54 runs to Barbados at Canary. Barbados first made 199 for 3 from their 50 overs. Asabi Kalenda made 54 and Nanjani Cumberbatch 39 against Vanessa Watch 2 for 39. In reply, Jamaica were bowled out for 145 in 44.3 overs as captain Rashada Williams 48 and Stefani Taylor 31 scored most runs. Keela Elliott claimed 4 for 27 and Samelia Connell 3 for 24. Jamaica will next be in action against the Leeward Islands on Monday. The Leeward Islands suffered a third straight defeat. They lost by a crushing 122 runs to Guyana at Warner Park. The Leewards were skittled out for 56 in 24 overs after they were set 179 for victory. Ashmini Munashir claimed 4 for 27 while Plafiana Millington and Cherry and Fraser bagged 3 apiece. Guyana's total of 178 was built around Captain Charmaine Campbell, 77 not out, Williana Grimond, 30, and Munashir, 30. At St. Paul's, Trinidad and Tobago registered a 9-wicket win over the Windward Islands. The Trinis raced to 71 for 1 in just 14 overs after bowling out the Windwards for 70. Now to track and field as well, an Olympic gold medalist, Shericka Jackson, is among several stars that have been listed for the National World Indoor Qualifiers at GC Foster College tomorrow. Jackson will run in Heat 3 of the women's 60 meters. She'll get competition from teammates Janelle Smith and Shakoria Wallace. Heat 1 will feature the likes of Tiana Clayton, Lavanya Williams and Jodine Williams, while Natasha Morrison, Cecily Forbes and Serena Cole are the main contenders in Heat 2. Olympic silver medalist Kishon Thomas will be the highlight of the men's race when he runs from Heat 2. Sharon Smith of St. Mary High posted the fastest time going into this afternoon's final of the Under-17 Girls 100 meters at the Carifta Trials now underway at GC Foster College. Smith posted 11.92 seconds to win Heat 2. Malaya Duncan of St. Jago was second in 12.09 and Edwin Allen's Daniela Clark third in 12.21.
Often running the likes of Jarrett Blake, Smith, Duncan, Clark, Allen, Murray. On the 17 girls, Heat 1 of 2, St. Jago or St. Mary, Smith 11.92, that's the official time. Duncan 12.09, Clark 12.21.
Now, Minister of Sports Oliver Greens has sought to allay fears that the resurfacing of the running track at the National Stadium would affect several events set for the venue. Some of the major events scheduled for the National Stadium include CONCACAF Champions Cup between Cavalier and the Messis Inter in Miami on March 13. There's also the Issa Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Championships from March 24 to 29 and the Grand Slam Track Series in April. Minister Green says she received the assurance from the Recorton Vice President for the North American region, Doug Stone, that the work is on schedule.
They are very confident that they will complete the work in time for champs. They showed me the work plan, walked me through it, indicated some of the issues that exist on the ground. They said they have found some areas where they have to cut out and treat. They'll work day and night so that the schedule that have been worked out we will meet those deadlines. Well, they have washed the track. They're going to wash it again. They are doing the scope right now, looking at areas, special areas that will need special treatment. But they are working with the coordination of IPL.
Minister Greens is conscious that several Jamaicans are eager to witness Lionel Messi play in Jamaica when his Inter Miami side take on Cavalier in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. She's assuring football fans that the work will not affect the football match.
Based on the work plan, I noticed that the date for the football is also a part of that plan. So they have factored that in, which means that it will not delay the work, it will not affect the work going on.
Olivia Babsy Greens, Minister of Sports. Now, defending champions Fraser's Whip will start the defense of their title when they take on UII in the opening match of a doubleheader in the Jamaica Women's Premier League at Anthony Spalding Complex tomorrow afternoon at 3:30. Meanwhile, homeside Arnett Gardens face Cavalier in the second match. In the other fixtures, Federal United play Los Perfectos at Prison Oval. Real Bay welcome My Gully at Jarrett Park, and Wi-Fi United tussle with Proven Girls at Carter Park. Aston Villa booked their place in the FA Cup quarter-finals with a 2-0 win against Championship side Cardiff City thanks to Marco Asensio's double in the second half. Cardiff frustrated Villa throughout the first hour of the game with goalkeeper Ethan Harvarth making 7 saves before Marcus Rashford and Asensio linked up in the 68th minute to open the scoring. He netted his second of the night 12 minutes later to ensure Unai Emery's men progressed into the next round.
Tielemans, Rashford, and the first time shot finally beats Cardiff and their goalkeeper Horvath, who's had some inspired moments. It's Marco Asensio, and Villa, just shy of 70 minutes into this cup tie, finally have their noses in front. Bailey. Asensio 2, and that should do it for Villa. That ought to ensure that theirs is the first name through to the last 8 of this season's FA Cup.
Villa now eagerly awaits Sunday's draw, which is scheduled to take place after Manchester United host Fulham at Old Trafford, to discover who they will meet in the last 8. Now to golf, as some of the golfers in this year's Caymanas Golf Classics were challenged mentally and physically when they had to complete 3 rounds of golf in 2 days in order to gain World Amateur Golf ranking points, which allows them to play in more tournaments across the region and the world. Zandre Roy was the big winner in the men's section, while the Jamaica Golf Association's president, Jody Munborough, won the ladies section of the 2-day tournament. Roy was able to stay focused on the extreme heat and windy conditions to play 54 holes in 2 days to post scores of 2 over par 74, 1 over par 73, and 7 over par 79 for a combined 10 over par 226.
The conditions were tough over the weekend. Yesterday was a little bit better than today. The course dried out a lot today and it really played difficult. Putting, the greens were fast, wedges weren't holding in the greens. So you had to really strategically execute your shots out there. And I think I managed it well, all things considering.
Munborough played 2 good rounds of golf on the back of 2 under par 70 and 3 over par 75 for a combined score of just 1 over par 145.
Very surprising. I haven't been playing that much because of work commitments, so I think my expectations were a little bit low. So I'm very, very pleased with the 2-day performance. Do have to try to find some more time to put in some more practice to get my game going even better than it is now. But overall, I'm happy with the results.
Jody Munborough. Now, over 40 of Jamaica's top shooters took on some of the world's best at the recent Jack Links Cup at Quail Creek Sporting Ranch in South Florida, USA. Jeffrey Zadie topped the trio of podium finishers in the main event, winning the AA class after picking up 175 birds in the 200-bird shoot. Jordan Thwaites, 153, bagged second place in C class, while Craig Davis came second in D class with a score of 147. Zadie entered the event on a high after narrowly missing the highest overall in the recently held PWD Sporting Clays tournament here at home at the True Juice Estates. This after taking lessons from 19-time world shotgun champion Ben Hustwaite, who he credited for making him a better shooter. Zadie also credited national coach Kahil Azan for teaching the local shooters to be highly competitive among the world's best shooters.
I really want to thank Ben for coming to Jamaica to help raise the level of shooting in Jamaica, and he has passed on a lot of his knowledge to another coach, Khalil Azan, our local coach, and I can definitely say I've seen an improvement in his students as well, teaching Ben's way. And I think our shooting will only get better going forward, and I think Jamaica will definitely be put more on the map as a competitive country with such a small country when we go abroad. So I wanted to say kudos to Ben and Khalil.
Jeffrey Zadie. Now several other Jamaicans finished on the podium in the various preliminary events which were held over the 5-day tournament. Gerard Chin, 76, was A-class second in while Jeffrey Panton was C-Class 3rd and Davis was D-Class 1st. The Jamaicans now look forward to the upcoming overseas-based competitions such as the Gator Cup and the World English Sporting Clays. I'm Alric Swiby, and that's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is
27 degrees Celsius in City Kingston and 28 in Montego Bay.
If you owe the NWC for more than 2 years, your aged debt may qualify for a 30%, 35%, 40%, or even up to 50% discounts, depending on its age and other special circumstances. Visit nwcjamaica.com for further information. Don't delay. Let's hear from you today. Dial 888-225-5692 or 888-CALL NWC. Get your share from the NWC's bucket full of goodies, serving you in so many ways.
And everybody let me hear ya.
Me have to ask, why eat other snacks when sunshine has the best for you? Nature's best buns so crunchy. The flavor that sings to you. Salted banana and plantain. Taste the freshness, naturally sweet. The flavor that sings to you.
Ayo, nature's best bunch.
Yeah, here? If you're tired of a cluttered office space, then you need to call Corporate Interiors International. We offer top quality industrial shelving, filing cabinets, and storage cabinets to keep your workspace organized and efficient. Plus comfortable office chairs that will keep your team productive and focused. Visit us today at corporateinteriorsjm.com or call us at 876-630-0010 for more information. Corporate Interiors International. We sell solutions, not just furniture.
None of mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all the schoolers who are taking them.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team. Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams. A special good evening to our friends on our YouTube platform. Big up on yourself. We invite you to weigh in live in the comment section on today's Public Opinion. It's Jamaica Day. Yeah, if you've been on the road, you probably see the children in their Jamaica Day clothes. Yeah, and also some adults. I saw some adults, of course, in them Jamaica colors. I saw some adults, and that's awesome. That's wonderful. It's a time to celebrate everything that makes our little island big on culture, resilience, and national pride. From the breathtaking beaches that we have, our world famous reggae music, the vibrant food. Yes, the food. And of course, we the people. There's so much to love about Jamaica. The food, the music, the scenery, everything. So, the public opinion question we're asking today. What's your favorite thing about this island we call home? What's your favorite thing about Jamaica? And I'm going to start with the comments on our X platform. President says the variety of women. Yeah, that speaks for itself. Shower Girl says so much right now to know Jamaica is in good hands. Now left out the politics, you know. All right, let me see. On Facebook, Michelle Bernard is saying there's hope to strive under this administration, led by Dr. Andrew Holness. It's Jamaica Day. Look how beautiful and happy the kids are. Daphne McCreath is saying, right now, my favorite thing about Jamaica is that I have a wonderful, loving, and caring, hardworking PM mixed with a vibrant culture. Cheryl Griffith says, our economy coming from rags to riches. We're no longer the laughing stock of the Caribbean. Lloyd Yarrow is saying the good governance of this country since 2016. Rosalind Buck says everything, the positive and also not the positive. Yeah. Hopeton Cranston saying it's music, food, and culture. Philip Jackson, he's saying to us how strange and resilient we are as people. And people want to speak like us. Yeah, man, we're patois. And he's saying that our food slap, which is true. And we take everything for joke. Sometimes we take some serious things for joke for real. Yeah, we as Jamaicans, we laugh. Give laugh a peace soup. And he's saying that always finding fun in our storms. Water come in my room and we sweep out some with a broom. always finding jokes. Mark Ranger is saying everything. They come. Okay. He's saying everything. Philip Kidd. The favorite thing about Jamaica for Philip Kidd, the people, we the people. Shins for Life Law is saying our culture, people, food, places, the dialect. And she's saying, I'm sure Jesus' dream house is in Jamaica. Heaven have been somewhere in Jamaica hiding. Sansia Campbell says, hands down, the food. Yeah, shout out to all the bellias them. It is the single reason I could not migrate. Wainsworth is saying, being a Jamaican, if me did ever ban nowhere else, me would have Bex. Me and you both, Wainsworth. And he says, being Jamaican is the flex. Latoya Sim says, or vibrant culture. Mark Ranger says, or naturality. How natural we are. Natalie Winter saying that the freedom that came being a wonderful Jamaican citizen. That's her favorite thing. For Dwight Venn, he says everything. Eunice Anderson is saying culture, the food, and Bugs, I want you to line up the song for me. Yeah, this is Or Jamaica, the land of our birth. What's your favorite thing about Jamaica? Let me see if I can go on our YouTube. Start Girl is saying freedom. Yeah, Start Girl is saying freedom. Let me see. Sophia Nemhard says, yeah, for real, Jamaica always a keep. Always. Every day. Every day we keep. John Black says, love to see our ladies in Jamaica. All right. Leroy Rutty here saying, Jamaica have the most. All right, Leroy. He's talking about women. Yeah? Ladies. And that's a plus, he says, for our beautiful jam dong. All right, okay. Jam Gran is saying the favorite or culture, we are the best comedians. Everything we take for joke. Every God Almighty thing we take for joke. Yeah. Yes, Shins. Yeah. My apologies for that. Herman says our accent is unique and the food. Yeah. Let me see if I can get in a few more. King Grogu is saying, I love our people and we have the best women and the best prime minister in the Caribbean. Student for Life says it has to be our culture. Roxanne Wellington says it's the freedom, climate, food, and vibes of the people. For Maureen Thomas Brown saying that her favorite thing is being a yardie out of many one people of culture. That is so true. Yeah, the melting pot. Student for Life is saying our culture sets us apart from the rest of the world. Des Nem saying, just being Jamaican says it all for me. It's a package that is envious and loved by the world. Yeah. Cheryl Wallace says, love me hard because it always a keep. Orville Griffith says, there's no other place like Jamaica and I'm living in Canada for 40 years. Yeah. For PB, it's the uniqueness of our people. The culture, the food, we're simply the best, not to mention our music. CJ Martinez saying love the party. Paul Peart, food, beaches, and beautiful people, including beautiful ladies. Now left out the woman demi. Miss Chin says our dialect, everyone in the world wants to be a Jamaican. Yo, with a proud, you know, with a proud. Faye O Baby says, or resilience. Peter Gay Smith says, I love everything about Jamaica, with food, with music, with culture, everything. For one Empress, it is the 5 S's, sun, sand, sea, and Sensi and steam, snapper fish. Okay, the snapper fish. There's just never a dull moment around our people, says Lady Cutchinson. Wayne Tipsy Campbell is saying the woman. Okay. Proud African saying the vibrant culture out of many one people. We are Jamaicans. All right, let me see if I can get, Fired Up is saying, I love our constitutional rights. For Jacqueline Thomas, she said, me love how we can dance and wine. Big up yourself, Jacqueline Thomas, with the waistline. Okay. KTB Wello says, me love how we chat. Yeah. Same way. So CJ Martinez said, Aki and saltfish and breadfruit. Big up yourself, CJ, because of that me feel for. That me go cook tomorrow. Let me see if I can get in some more. Yeah, Miss Chin says our dialect. Yeah. Maxine Wildman saying love yard. Yeah, we are the best, and our language. Bugs, cue up that song there for me. Ready feet. You can play it. Love our Jamaica. Yes, Jacqueline, I can see you dancing. I see you dancing, Jacqueline. McHugh say, you go, girl. Yeah, the Jamaican people, especially the women, says Verily Green. Yes, thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion this evening. Enjoy the weekend and big up on yourself and stay safe, yeah? We Jamaican.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:33.
Annual eye examinations not only assess your vision but may be life-saving. Eye tests may detect serious health issues that go beyond your vision. Call IQ Optical to schedule your comprehensive eye test today.
The temperature by IQ Optical is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robian Williams. The Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ, has announced the appointment of Dr. David Lowe as its new managing director, effective March 3, 2025. He will lead the bank in its continued mission to drive sustainable economic growth through strategic financial initiatives and support development financing. Dr. Loh, with a distinguished career spanning over 25 years, brings a wealth of experience in strategic planning, capital project execution, private equity and venture capital, as well as corporate and development finance. Further afield, a California judge has said the mass firings of probationary employees by the Trump administration were likely unlawful. The ruling said the Office of Personnel Management, OPM, had told thousands of employees across a handful of federal agencies they were fired using authority the agency does not have. OPM does not have any authority whatsoever under any statute in the history of the universe to hire and fire employees at another agency. That's according to the judge. The judge said that they can hire and fire their own employees. In court, the government argued OPM asked, not ordered, the agencies to fire these employees. And finally, at the currency markets, at the close of trading today, it cost 157 Jamaican dollars and 33 cents to buy $1 US, 199 Jamaican dollars and 56 cents to buy 1 British pound, and 110 Jamaican dollars and 45 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Roby Ann Williams. Have a wonderful weekend. Good evening.
Revamp your space with Unique Living sleek fixed and sliding shower panels, shower systems and faucets, stylish vanities, LED and non-LED mirrors, basins and kitchen sinks, closet and storage solutions, hanging aids, and more. Available in different finishes and sizes to match your style. Transform your space and visit us today at shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10. Call us at 876-755-3661 or visit our website at uniquelivingja.com to shop.
Ready to take your investments to new heights? Look no further. Barita Investments Limited just scored an A+ credit rating from CariCris. This affirms that your money is stable with a team dedicated to financial strength and expertise. Join the ranks of satisfied investors who trust Barita to deliver results. Don't just invest, elevate your financial journey with Barita Investments today. Call us at 888-429-5333 or visit any of our locations at Kingston, Montego Bay or Mandeville.
It's undeniable that we should be together.
The true beauty of music is that it connects people. It carries a message. It speaks to you. It changes you. And that's exactly what we do just for you every Sunday as we take you to Urban Paradise, 9:10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Urban Paradise is our weekly musical journey that will serve up 110 glorious minutes of positive storytelling through music, mixed in with inspirational features to provoke thought and to heal the soul.
Like a dream come true, just wanna be with you.
So join me, Diane Ashton Smith, this and every Sunday, 9:10 a.m. to 11 a.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. Urban Paradise, opening our hearts, connecting to others.
It's the weekend and the youth are taking over the airwaves. Yes, we are the new voices and faces of the Talk Up You radio show. The voice of the Jamaican youth right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
After a busy week of work and school, come and wine with Jamaica's #1 youth radio show.
We're bringing you entertainment, fun facts, and staying true to youth development and advocacy.
Catch the action each and every Saturday as we roll out buzzy segments. What say you?
Youth for chat,
life skills,
global connect, and Bust the Youth. That's the Talk Up Youth radio show. Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM.
Talk Up Youth, Miss Effie.
Talk Up Youth. Don't miss it.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Not a mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all the schoolers who are taking beats.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team, Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come on, let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Those oldies but goodies reminds me of you.
Exciting news! The Design Studio on Nationwide 90 FM just got a whole lot bigger. Join us this and every Saturday now from 1 to 3 p.m. for an exclusive show that elevates your home, mind, and soul. Discover the latest interior design trends to create your dream sanctuary. Unlock your true potential with personal growth strategies. Nourish your body and spirit with expert wellness tips. Don't miss out on the inspiration you need to live your best life. Tune in to the Design Studio this and every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. and take the first step towards a more fulfilling you.
Make me sweat, make me harder.
As we grow older, there are many challenges that we have to confront, but these years can represent the best in our lives. Coming of Age during Nationwide This Morning on Thursdays explores issues persons 50 and over confront. It also provides expert opinions on how we can improve the quality of our lives as we get older. That's Coming of Age, this and every Thursday during Nationwide This Morning at 6:51 a.m.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton. Weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
This time signal is sponsored by Janet Global Accreditation, an agency of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. The time is now.
It's 6:43. Good evening, listeners and viewers. Welcome back. It is now time for the nation's business, and I'm Siobhan Campbell. I'll be joined shortly by Ricardo Brooks, but we crack on in the meantime. We now go over to the United States, where an Oval Office meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky devolved into a shouting match on Friday. Trump told Zelensky, "You're not acting at all thankful for the support his country had received from the United States." President Trump said the Ukrainian leader had been disrespectful and told him, "You're gambling with World War III." Zelensky was in Washington to sign a deal that would give the United States access to Ukrainian rare earth and critical minerals. Trump said the leaders would sign it at an afternoon event at the White House. However, after the meeting descended into chaos, that signing was cancelled. The argument came at the end of a lengthy question and answer session with reporters. This after Trump defended his approach with Russian President Vladimir Putin, saying he was trying to broker a deal between two parties. Here's a snippet of the meeting. It's a video courtesy of CBS News.
And for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014 and 2014.
2014?
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversations, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count one.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You
God bless. You will not have war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influenced.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a
Brown,
good position. You don't have the
saying-
cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you don't.
I'm very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're gambling
I'm
with
the
the lives
president
of
in war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
what do you
You're
think about?
gambling with
What do you
World
think
War
about?
III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's
with
back
all
to
respect to
you.
your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not
Yeah.
speaking loudly. Your country's
Can I-
in big
can I-
trouble.
can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
I,
You have a damn good chance of
we are
coming out
staying-
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
allowed.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
allowed.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment.
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if,
West
if
Indies?
you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, he has.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of
accept
times
that there,
thank you
accept
to
that,
American people.
accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I
over
understand,
there.
sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't, please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're
I
saying
said-
you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
Doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
that
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
with you.
a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your-
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry, here.
It's going to be a tough deal to make,
Um,
because the attitudes have to change.
what if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right
What are
now,
you
but
saying?
what
She's
if
asking,
Russia-
what if
if
Russia
Putin
breaks the
breaks
ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden, because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam, and he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right. We'll see what we can do about putting it together.
Guys, let's go. Guys, come on, let's go.
We'll see, I don't know.
All right, guys, come on. Wait, hey,
Well, that was the proceedings earlier today in the White House, and I think the President of the United States needs to understand that what might be fit for the boardroom is not necessarily fit for airing in the media in front of a world leader. And he also needs to understand that he's talking to an ally that is assisting him in dealing with what can be considered one of the most major threats to global cohesion in the modern day. That is Vladimir Putin's Russia and his aggressive tendencies towards Eastern Europe. I don't understand why the President of the United States feels the need to try to turn an ally into an enemy under these circumstances. And while it is accepted that yes, Ukraine has been fighting with the assistance of NATO and more fundamentally assistance from the United States in terms of war material, it is still Volodymyr Zelensky's countrymen dying in droves on the front lines trying to defend their homes, and it should be the kind of call that the United States should resonate with, this understanding of people fighting to defend their homes against an overwhelming aggressor, and they've managed to do that in almost isolation, yes, with assistance in terms of war material for over 2 years. And having this grouse being aired in public will only embolden somebody who already feels that he is now in the driving seat of that war. And I wish, people suggest that Trump is who Trump is, but there needs to be an understanding that this is not how diplomacy is handled on the world stage. Trump says that Mr. Zelensky is courting World War III, but if you understand what the current state of geopolitics is, we are in a cold World War III where you have the alignment of Russia, China, North Korea, and other entities on one side who are in alignment as to what they want to do, and you have the United States now on this other side babbling and quibbling with its allies as these madmen take over tranches of the world. And I don't think there's an understanding in the US president that he's in the driving seat of the necessary alliance that needs to be made on the opposite side against what could become the new axis of evil. And until he understands that, it would seem that he has become essentially, whether wittingly or unwittingly, a puppet of Vladimir Putin and a puppet of Xi Jinping. But we'll see in the coming days. I still hope, and I hope against hope, that a deal can be struck where Ukraine can be given the aid it needs to continue the fight and continue putting pressure on Vladimir Putin for a proper ceasefire deal, a proper end to the violence where they don't have to cede vast swathes of territory to a madman. But we'll see. Your calls after this, listeners. The numbers are 630-937-124 and 618-8255.
Payroll processing giving you angina? Complete your payroll in just 15 minutes with ICOPay. ICOPay is an efficient payroll software that simplifies payroll processing and returns for businesses of all sizes. Features includes SO1 and SO2 filings, online salary deposits, payslip distribution via email, and many more. It's Jamaica's best-selling payroll solution. Visit ICOPayJA.com for a demo. Follow at ICOPayJA or call or WhatsApp at 876-333-5809.
Jamaica's Spark program is investing $45 billion to improve roads, water, and telecom. Better infrastructure for a better future. The time by Spark is...
It's 7 o'clock.
Get ready to receive your share of a bucket full of goodies from the NWC.
That's so nice, eh?
From January 2 to March 31, 2025, you could benefit from the debt amnesty.
Tell me more.
NWC has amnesty offers that include 50% write-offs, 100% on balances over 2 years, and 25 to 50% on balances depending on the age of the balance.
Who can qualify?
Practically anyone with arrears. If your residential account is disconnected for 6 months or more, you qualify. Or if you are a pensioner or path beneficiary with a balance over 2 years, you qualify. Plus, commercial and residential accounts with balances over 2 years also qualify for discounts. Call 888-225-5692. Check the NWC website or visit any NWC office today.
Yeah, here? If you're tired of a cluttered office space, then you need to call Corporate Interiors International. We offer top quality industrial shelvings, filing cabinets, and storage cabinets to keep your workspace organized and efficient. Plus comfortable office chairs that will keep your team productive and focused. Visit us today at corporateinteriorsjm.com or call us at 876-630-0010 for more information. Corporate Interiors International. We sell solutions, not just furniture.
Exciting news! The Design Studio on Nationwide 90 FM just got a whole lot bigger. Join us this and every Saturday now from 1 to 3 p.m. for an exclusive show that elevates your home, mind, and soul. Discover the latest interior design trends to create your dream sanctuary. Unlock your true potential with personal growth strategies. Nourish your body and spirit with expert wellness tips. Don't miss out on the inspiration you need to live your best life. Tune in to the Design Studio this and every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. and take the first step towards a more fulfilling you.
Make me sweat, make me harder.
It's Monday. Get over your blues. Or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
The E-Zone is here for you.
With this thing, Honeybee.
And Karim Boyatings
from 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM.
We've got your entertainment news.
Then we want to hear your views. Why you say?
Jump in the mix.
Or the hot seat.
Don't miss our brain busters.
Or the crazy giveaways.
Let's talk fashion.
Send us your outfit of the day. Ooh, cutesy. Very demure.
Are you looking for love?
Come on one of our blind dates. Send your request to ezoneblindates@gmail.com. That's ezoneblindates@gmail.com.
And stay tuned for your confessions.
These are my confessions.
Share them with us at ezoneconfessions@yahoo.com. I mean, is this planet Earth?
Is it?
I don't know. Let me check. Either way, it's got a buzz.
And a bugger thing.
Ow! Ow!
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, by God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path. Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
Not a mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all the schoolers who are taking them.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team, Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. We're into the third and final hour. It's 7:05 and we're taking your calls. The numbers are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. Before we go to our first callers, I see, and I welcome disagreements from our YouTubers in terms of what my analysis of the situation is, but I think history is a lovely teacher. And the irony is, if you go back to 1944, 1945, when you had Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States deciding what the world would look like after the overthrow of the Nazi regime. And I find it quite telling when Winston Churchill talked to the US president and warned him of what would happen if the Soviet Union was given too much ground in negotiations in terms of remaking the European map. And the president simply looked at the picture and suggested that at the time Russia was the bigger partner in terms of the manpower they provided, in terms of the assistance they provided, and looked more favorably towards Russia in terms of how that map should be remade against the warnings of Winston Churchill. And we all know how that played out in terms of what the Soviet Union became following World War II and what the Cold War became following World War II. And Winston Churchill was vindicated for his stance. And now we find ourselves in 2025. Twice now, Russia has invaded Ukraine. If you forget the original conflict, I believe it was Georgia, where they took quite a significant swathe of territory from Ukraine and had been fighting using mercenaries and rebel groups inside Ukrainian territory ever since. They've now seized another aspect of Ukrainian territory, despite a ceasefire deal, as Volodymyr Zelensky pointed out, being signed. He defied that and continued his swathe into Ukrainian territory. And now we expect that he will simply back down because the US president says, let's have another ceasefire. I don't think you understand how geopolitics works. This will just embolden him to go further. When does his territorial ambitions end? When Ukraine is no longer a sovereign territory? When it is part of the Russian Empire? There has to be a point and a moment in time when you stand up to evil. And the United States, for all its flaws, for all its ideological concerns that many in the world share, has always been the beacon that stands up to evil across the world. And I don't know if the US president, the current holder of that office, understands that. And that is where my concern lies. Is it just a matter that the US president will use the office to settle personal grouses, to settle his own ego, to settle his own disputes? That cannot be the standard by which the US office is judged. Not in any sensible world.
I'll simply say two things. One, you don't play footsie with dictators. And two, Kamala Harris told you also. It's 9 minutes after 7. Let's take the break. and come back with your calls. Oh, we have our first call already. Okay.
Willie.
630-937-124. Willie, good evening.
Good evening, sir. I was born in the mid-40s. I did a lot of studies on world and the world. I the 40s, when the war came to an end. When the war, that war there, World War II. Now, I was somewhere in Charleston, South Carolina, and we have a place a lot of cannonball. I have a picture of myself of sitting on the cannonball. It was something there. and then no, let me skip over that. Then I went to a place in, I think it's in New York, where they say let the nations of the world beat their plowshares into agricultural implements instead of making war. And I believe that it seemed to me as if we're going to go right back to that and have some war, some big war, which, according to a man named Asimov, I was reading an article the other day, 10 ways he thinks the world will come to an end.
You mean Isaac Asimov, the novelist?
Yes. You ever read any of his articles?
I've read a few of his books. They're science fiction based, but I don't know if I've read an article about him.
Let me tell you, that man is right on the ball. And if you don't mind, we may just go headlong straight into World War III. If we do not pull up our socks and come together and talk. And a matter of fact, I can't one Christian him. He say, when comes the promised time that war shall be no more? And I say, and the song continues with then, break with thine iron rod the tyranny of sin. And if you go and see me, so, I'm afraid of one man up on not correct. That man who has some weapon and he claims him can knock anywhere in the United States in a jiffy. And he have the weapons there. So I hope somebody say is only a angel of stripe can hold back what may happen to this world if we continue. So I'm afraid right now. That's what I mean. I'm afraid of what may come from this same earth.
I understand what you're saying, sir, but I don't think, or I think it highly unlikely that there would be open war between the United States and Russia. As bleak as things look nowadays, I think there's enough diplomatic channels between those two countries and then enough understanding as what those two countries are capable of doing that it would be enough to keep us from that kind of bleak reality. But that is not where the wars are being fought nowadays. Most of these wars that are being fought by proxy. Ukraine is one of those proxies.
Yes.
The Assad regime, which fell recently, was one of those proxies. And you have other proxies like this cropping up all over the world where they're fighting on behalf of themselves, but with the backings of other great states behind them. And I think that's what people don't understand. This is not to suggest that World War III is going to be some kind of nuclear cataclysmic event. It's going to be a situation where the world hegemony is going to be decided by which states, whether they be rebel alliances or which countries, decide where they're going to fall. Are they going to fall in the sphere of influence of Russia, China, and those countries? Or are they going to remain within the Western hemispheric sphere of NATO? That is what World War III is about at this point in time.
Well, I guess if they start it, no one can win, because everybody have some technical weapon, and it's not no hand-to-hand war. Because if, as the same, I tell you about North Korea, if it touch somebody, what them have, and the capability that they have, where they have some, we have to watch them the same place. And until now, in the Korean War, they have some ship, some weapon for United States. No, United States don't get it back yet, you know.
I understand. I don't know what to say about that one though, but I understand.
Okay, all right, sir. Take care.
All right.
I listen, but
I see somebody here says Zelensky should give up at the end of the war. And what does that look like for Ukraine? I think people don't see that he should just give up his country, and it just becomes a Russian territory. It will become Ukraine Oblast again as part of the Soviet Empire. I wonder if that is what they mean.
Mr. Portmore, good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
Doing all right.
Okay. I just wanted to say something. Congratulations to the Jamaica Labour Party on passing the bill for us to become a parish. It's long overdue, and I'm sure that more people will benefit a lot from us being a parish. The second thing is, I went to a fair that was being hosted by Bella Brown, the current councillor caretaker for the Gregory Park Division. And I'm telling you, we are trying to move away from the confrontational politics. Nobody was there in their green. And of course, it was attended by Mr. Terrelong and people from the Gregory Park area and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know, to my surprise, who you think turned up?
Who?
Mr. Price and his and some of his friends in orange jerseys, and caused the people that was there, I think it was the Kiwanis and all of that, they said that it seemed too much tension in the air, so they had to pack up and leave. So people who would be coming home, who leaving work, coming to get certain facilities, provided by the fair, they lose out. And I think that is very, very, very bad and inconsiderate of Mr. Price and his supporters.
So, this was voiced as a fair, it was not voiced as a political event.
No, it's not a political event. But if you come in there, not come in your orange.
I can't. I have to agree with that position. If it's genuinely not a political event, you should come out in support of the event. I mean, there's no problem with Mr. Price being there, but it should not be turned into a political squabble.
Thank you. And cause the people who are hosting it, the people who came there to us, they leave. And I think that's a bad case for whatever took place there this evening. It don't look good. And we should be now trying to ensure that Jamaica, the both sides are peaceful and both sides are doing things that is within the context of happiness and fairness. And for him to turn up in a position like that, I think that is disgraceful, and he should be looked at as somebody who don't like the peace. I don't think so. That's provocative. And everybody who was there was so sad. They were so sorry. I even spoke to Mr. Terrelong, and he said, boys, support more. Now I really pay them no mind and say no. But him never paid them no mind. But the people who were there, they pack up. And it caused an early end to a good fair that was supposed to be there.
All right, Mr. Portmore, thanks for the call.
You're welcome, man.
630-9371 to 4618-8255. We're taking your calls. I see world leaders reacting to what happened in the White House, the Oval Office, this afternoon. And it's no surprise that those who consider themselves strongmen and dictators are all praising what happened.
Precisely.
Most of the rest of the civilized world is commiserating with President Zelensky.
If I'm right, the Russian ambassador, or actually the Russia, what's the title considered? Foreign Affairs Minister? I'm not sure what. Said that Zelensky should have been slapped across the face.
Former Russian president said that insolent pig was slapped down in the Oval Office. 19 minutes after 7, Lady J, good evening.
All right. Good evening, both of you.
How are you?
I am doing good, and you?
Doing all right.
Great. It's the weekend coming up. You guys will be able to breathe.
Yes. Yes, I am looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Don't you have an assignment to finish, Mr. Brooks?
Yes, as I need to go and finish it.
Oh, goodness. So I just want to share with you.
Mm-hmm.
2 mornings ago, Cliff was speaking about what was happening in St. James, the school.
Yes.
And how it the discipline and everything has been broken down. And he was speaking about the regional offices and all them things. You know, each one know the other. They went to college together.
Right.
And then now that kind of, the stringent measures is not adhered to because you know me, me know you and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought went back to the CCJ, you know, the court.
Yes.
I don't just, when I heard him make that thing, you know, I just said, that is why Jamaicans will not accept the CCJ because a lot of them go university together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Them know each other. They were students, some of them lectures and all of them know them one another. We want a court that is for the people. Whether we're going to have our high court here or we still have the opportunity to go to England.
But may I ask you, Lady J, which of those would you prefer? So
With the referendum, I would like to have the opportunity for both. If I can afford the Privy Council,
yes,
let me go.
Okay.
If I want to go to our local court, but not the CCJ.
Right. I'm saying if the final choice was between the CCJ, between the Privy Council and a final local court, which one would you choose?
I prefer the local court, not the regional court.
But all right, so if you choose the local court, wouldn't the problem of all of them going to school together still exist?
No, in Jamaica, I think there was some choice about making our own high court here.
Right.
I thought it was Mr. Bruce Golding mentioned that.
Correct. Right.
Right.
So I'm saying, but you're saying that you're worried about the CCJ because your fear is that all the lawyers went to school together. And so, right, but if we have our own final court here, and Siobhan becomes a judge, and I become a judge, and Dana
even
becomes
further
a
insular.
judge, wouldn't
No,
you know?
what we see coming out of our courts now,
Mm-hmm.
it is beautiful. It is beautiful, and I don't expect any difference. I expect the standard to be up, you know, performance, no friend and company. I believe in our system. I really do, especially since last year, what we see coming out, some of the judgments coming out of the court. Yes, I have faith in our local capacity to do so.
But why not the CCJ's capacity?
Because of the analogy that my daddy Cliff Hughes brought. Yes,
of them
they
going
went
to
university together. They
Right.
know each other.
But all of the
So
current
I
judges.
don't have a problem with the judgment coming out of the CCJ.
But all of the current judges on Jamaica's courts went to school together as well.
Right, but what I'm saying here now, the performance that we see here, the standard that is set, I am for it. And I know Jamaicans are for it. Justice is in the court now.
Did you
More
know?
than ever.
Did you?
Speedy time turnaround. Yes.
Did you know that the CCJ has been praised internationally as being a very strong court? As being one of the most independent courts?
I heard of it. I heard of it. But When I listened to that analogy, my thought just went right to the CCJ, brother.
Yeah.
Yes, I went right there. And Mr. Patterson took the Jamaican money to help build that court. He
Yes.
did not come to the people and say anything. So,
Mhm.
all Alejandro has to do, go in a referendum. Mr. Patterson could have talked to him blue or black in the face.
Mhm.
Come to the people because we are the ones will be affected. We are the one who's going to use it
Mhm.
more.
May I ask you, because I mean, I generally find this interesting, Lady J, I have to tell you. So let me ask you something. If it were Edward Seaga, who had been the Prime Minister at the time, who spent the money on the CCJ, do you think you'd have supported it?
Well, Mr. Edward Seaga's capacity for critical thinking cannot be compared with Mr. Patterson because he has brought this country.
So you don't trust the court because it was Mr. Patterson's administration that introduced.
No.
Okay.
He has, listen to me, man.
Yes.
That man is truly recalling bad judgment.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Bad
I'm saying
everything.
right. No, man, I hear you on that. I'm saying, is
Yes.
that why you don't trust the CCJ because you think Mr. Patterson's judgment was poor?
No, I just told you why I don't trust the CCJ. That analogy that Cliff brought the other morning
Yes.
just shook me in that way.
Okay.
You understand me? And I know
Not quite, but all right.
when the educational officer used to come at my school, I don't know if you know Jeannie Polish them time there.
Yes, I remember.
We
that.
have to.
Is that the polish that
those
that
boards,
you used to use with the coconut brush?
Yeah, man, and
Yes.
polish those seats and everything would be spick and span in that classroom
Yes.
when an education officer would be visiting.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We were inspected. They just come randomly, tell us to stand, look at our uniform, look on the charts and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it was a beautiful feeling.
Yes.
Now, it's different. The bar has fallen. That a dispute between a chairman and a principal could cause a school to be out for how many days.
Mm.
And a full picnic in a big people affair. Wrong.
All right, Lady J.
So,
Thanks for the call.
Yeah, man. You take care.
Just before we go to the break, then I just want to clarify this matter of the CCJ. I think that's what it is, and it comes down to that, the politics of it. It became married in politics, and for some
Did
people,
you think otherwise at some point?
No, I don't. But there are people who deny that is that is what is driving this. I'm just saying, we should be clear that this is what it is, because it was introduced by a PNP administration. There are people who tell me the quartet of Patterson, Manning, Arthur, Gonzalez, I think was the next one, yeah. That, they all went to school together, and,
It was their brainchild.
Right, and they pushed it. Well, not quite, because I think the CCJ was first conceived in the 1970s. Interestingly enough, the Jamaica Labour Party at that time my recollection of the history, it did not have a problem with a regional court.
It came out of the whole federation idea that we would require a court regionally as well.
Yeah,
so it comes out from that idea, but I think the JLP administration, we'll take the time signal. The JLP administration
It's
itself
7:30.
has.
The time signal is 7:27? Oh, okay. All right, we'll take a time signal.
Apply for your Sagicor Bank Preferred Prepaid MasterCard today. Load your remittances for everyday spending. Receive cash transfers from any local bank. The time by Sagicor Bank is
7:28.
Right. So the point I was making was, I think the politics is what it is. Because Sir Arlene Rowe says, I don't understand, Ricardo. You want the CCJ and the caller don't want it. Why the questions? Because, Arlene, as a citizen of Jamaica, you can't just hold opinions and don't know why you hold them. You're not contributing anything to the body politic or the democracy. If that's it, you just hold opinions for the sake of holding them. Yeah, you need to reason through why you have a view. And clearly, there's a dissonance in the view Lady J has. She says Cliff's opinion about the influence of cronyism, I'm going to use that word, or friendships. I withdraw cronyism. Friendships, causes problems. And she said she'd support a local court. There's obviously a dissonance there. All the judges now went to school together. They know each other. So if that is your concern about not accepting the CCJ, clearly it doesn't logically follow that you'd accept a final local court. The same problem would exist.
There should be some consistency in your argument.
Right.
And when you reasoned yourself into a position, you find it to be on more solid ground, but you can't find yourself on solid ground when it's not a position you've reasoned yourself into.
Right.
When you've adopted it on either the belief of someone else or just a almost instinctual dislike of another individual's position, it becomes difficult to defend that position in those circumstances. But as I've said it before, I'm all for a referendum to decide this one way or another. I
support that. I have no problem with it going to a referendum. I support the CCJ, and I know why I support it. I mean, I think it should go to a vote. Let the people decide, and once people decide, that should be the end of the matter. My only concern with the Privy Council, and it's not my only concern, but my chief concern with the Privy Council, is that your final court, and I said this before, your final court shouldn't be a court that you have no control over. You understand? Jamaicans have zero control over the Privy Council. The British Parliament could abolish that court tomorrow, and Jamaica would have no say. That's a problem.
And it's built into their constitution.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the irony,
It's a problem. And if you say you're a sovereign country, you shouldn't have a scenario where another sovereign could just abolish a whole part of your system of government.
As unlikely as it is to happen.
I don't know that it's unlikely, I don't know that it's unlikely, because there have been conversations about the amount of cases it hears from other places.
And Jamaica, and it should be noted that Jamaica makes up the bulk of its business.
A former president of the UK Supreme Court did say that, he thought that we should probably get our affairs in order. I mean, this current president seems more open to hearing the cases, but my concern with that is that we have to understand that Britain sees it as part of its continued influence on the countries it used to dominate. Because if they handed us a constitution, right, that has never been passed by our parliament, and if the final say on that constitution continues to reside in the United Kingdom, ask yourselves, are you truly an independent people? If what freedom of expression means, if what the right to privacy means, if whether we can execute people who murder and maim is decided by people who don't live here, who don't share our experiences, ask yourselves, is that okay? I continue to be baffled, for example, by the reason we can't execute people in Jamaica. It's lawful. Our parliament has made that clear, explicitly so, with the Charter of Rights, yeah? And yet, because of the rulings of the Privy Council, we cannot execute people. Even though every public opinion poll I've seen suggests that the majority of our people support that as a lawful method of punishment. The Privy Council has decided, mind you, the CCJ has taken a similar dim view of, the death penalty. But the Privy Council has decided that, no, that's not a punishment you should have. And that's because of their lived reality. And the fact that in their country, they have abolished it. But anyway.
As I said, I'm all for a local court here in Jamaica. I don't share the same concerns about let me use a very strong word, incestuousness of our judicial system. I believe that our judges operate on a standard, and I believe the Caribbean Court of Justice do operate on the same standard of the principle of law. And I have faith in that principle, and I believe we should be able to keep that principle here in Jamaica. And I don't think any Jamaican should go further than his own country to find justice, final justice. That is my belief, which is why I support a local court being Jamaica's final appellate court. And I hear the arguments about Jamaica's not ready for it, and these are things that can be solved. And I wonder if we cannot just spend the time to solve them rather than have this constant debate about should we go to the CCJ or should we go to the Court of Appeal. It feels like in one camp there are those who distrust the CCJ for the political reasons, as you put it, and there are those who are so invested in this organization as if it forms some part of their legacy that they feel they must force Jamaica to adopt it.
That's the CCJ?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the People's National Party can be credibly accused of that. Yeah.
But I am heartened. I don't know if this is the intent, but I do recall as part of the throne speech, it said that it would finally be put to the people.
Yes,
as
that was
to
said.
what
It said
is going
people
to
would have a say.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to know if does that mean we're talking about a committee or a referendum? I would love to get some clarity on that, because I say put it to a vote.
I agree. Payne, good evening. Payne?
Yes, good evening, Ricardo.
Hello.
Hello, good evening, Ricardo.
Hearing you. Go ahead, Payne.
Yeah, good evening, Ricardo and Siobhan. Yeah, let me put a disclaimer here first. I think I am the most avid nationwide listener.
Okay.
I don't think nobody radio stuck like my own. And I rely on you guys for local news, local politics, local everything. But I think when it comes to the international scene, I'm very disappointed in the coverage of some of the international. You even listen to the news, the early morning news in the morning, and you can see the international party is just a regurgitation of whatever the BBC says or whatever CNN or NBC, whatever the station is says. And the same thing we get exactly what they say. That a different perspective is not put in the whole thing. It just come across and you know what was said on CNN or what was said on ABC, whatever the American pro-Western channel says.
What different perspective would you like to hear?
A more objective.
Yeah, tell me what it is.
Thing to the thing. Even, for instance, Chevron little thing after the thing with the president.
Yeah, man, I heard what Siobhan said. I'm saying, tell me what is your objective
you see,
proposal.
The pro-Western news that feed us as we get up over the past couple of years, many years, listening to. It is not the real truth. It is not the 100% truth that comes out. It is how the West want us to believe that it is going.
Versus whose perspective?
Repeat?
Versus whose perspective? You said we're carrying a pro-Western perspective. Versus whose?
Versus the rest of the world.
And the rest of the world, let's look at the case in this matter of Russia invading Ukraine. Who is the rest of the world in that analogy?
Stefan, have you ever given the genesis of what lead up to the invasion of Ukraine? Have you ever given the perspective to the listeners?
And what is that perspective? I'm asking you, inform our listeners.
Let me give you a little piece. A lot of the people, prior to 2014, and 2014 coming on, a lot of Ukrainian, the people that you call there that Russia annexed off there are Russians, poor people are Russians. And they were persecuted by the same...
Do you understand that that is the same argument that Adolf Hitler used to invade Poland?
You see, the thing is the same.
No. But you understand the argument that you just said, because the argument you just put forward... No, let me finish, sir. The argument you just put forward was the same reasoning that Adolf Hitler used to invade Poland.
And I can say to you,
No. But you acknowledge this, right? You acknowledge that, right? That the same...
Let me hear the response.
And using that to justify what the West, I used to look at it and think to say it was America proxy war, but I realize now that it is the Democratic Party, proxy war, and all is killing. You people want to prolong this thing, killing off Ukrainians to fight a war that Russia don't want to destroy.
So hold on. All right, hold on.
Ukraine cannot win.
All right, hold on. Okay, let me say I take you at your best, and let me say that let's say your reasoning there is correct. Let's say Zelensky decides that he will no longer fight. What exactly do you think Vladimir Putin wants?
But this is one of the things, Ricardo.
No. Hold on. Just hold on. Just answer the question.
Keep on assuming what?
No, I'm asking you. No, I'm not making an assumption. I'm asking you. Because you say we are pushing a pro-Western line. So I'm saying, okay, fine. Let me accept that. So I'm asking you now. Let's say we in the West, give Vladimir Putin what he wants. Which is that?
And all Vladimir Putin wanted was for Ukraine to remain neutral. As a neutral country, don't want to join the alliance of this NATO thing, and that America, they won't go into it.
Yeah, man. So hold on, okay.
And that justifies the invasion of a country.
So that's what I wanted to ask you. So fine, he wanted something, and Zelensky, who leads a sovereign country, wanted another thing. You're saying because of that, it justified him invading the borders of that country?
No, but you have to defend your national security.
And please, no, we're going to take this to its logical conclusion. So I'm walking with you now. I'm walking with you. So let us say, Jamaica now, Haitians are coming across our border. Because that's how you're having challenges, a war-torn country. They're unstable. No real functioning government, security forces not working out. They're coming across our border. Could Andrew Holness get up tomorrow and say to Antoinette Weems Gorman, you know what? Mobilize the JDF. The instability in Haiti is such that it affects our national interests. We should invade and restore law and order. Would you support him in that?
With all due respect, Ricardo, that is comparing apple.
All right. What about Venezuela seeking to?
Let me hear the apples and oranges.
No, you're comparing apple to oranges. The scenario that you're drawing with Haiti is a vast different scenario that with Russia.
You said, let me explain why it's not. Let me explain why it's not.
Let me explain first.
Well, no. Let me explain why it's not. You said Russia. The invasion was to secure its national interest, correct? Right?
Yes.
Do you agree that Jamaica has a national security interest in defending its borders from invasion? I use that word advisedly. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree.
Would you agree that an unstable country being so close to Jamaica poses a threat to Jamaica's sovereignty?
Yes, in some ways.
Okay. So if you agree with those things, and I'm saying to you, our Prime Minister, in his good wisdom, based on your reasoning, should secure our national interest.
And where I depart from that analogy that you are using there is that the scenario where we would defend our borders, national interests here is not by just declaring a war on Haiti. That's a big difference than what the situation in Europe. The thing in Europe with Russia and America, the NATO-led thing there, is that you don't encroach on my borders pointing nuclear weapons that you can plant in any one of these NATO countries. And I can't do it. And you're doing it.
Sir, why are there nuclear weapons in Ukraine?
Why are they?
Yes, why are there?
No, they are not. They don't have any now. But what I'm the thing that by Ukraine be remaining a neutral country, meaning that
no. But your definition of a neutral country is a neutral country within the sphere of influence of Russia,
right?
Which is not necessarily the same as a neutral country.
Exactly. You just don't want him to do anything to upset Vladimir Putin. That's what you're considering.
This is weird. This is a thing.
And remember, this was Vladimir Putin's statement after he had already seized parts of Ukraine.
Right. Exactly.
What is it?
And this is after Vladimir Putin said that, Ukraine is Russian. You recall that statement, right?
Yes.
Okay then. So when he has signaled all of this, saying that he's already seized our territory, he says we don't want you to do what you feel you should do, and we believe your country is not actually a country; it is just part of our country. What does that leave Ukraine in terms of sovereignty and neutrality?
But why did Ukraine allow America to use them in that way? Ukraine could be free as a bird to do whatever.
No, it's not. But that is the problem. You are suggesting that it's free as the bird to do whatever it wants. It falls in a very very particular area, a very compromising area where it has already faced aggression from Russia, lost territory to Russia. During that period of time, it was still fighting internecine conflict with Russian-backed rebels in its territory. Under that same pretext, a government led by Putin said, we don't want you to go over to NATO. True, fine. But you're also a part of our territory, and we are going to defend that part of our territory if necessary. Where does that leave Zelensky if not to turn to people who would say, no, you can't do that, Vladimir Putin?
But Siobhan.
No, sir. I've listened to your. What you're suggesting is that when strong-armed dictators say they want something, they should be given it. That is what you're suggesting, and this is the same reasoning that was used when Adolf Hitler invaded Poland. When Adolf Hitler took over so much territory, people said, "Well, he's partially right. Those territories are technically German."
You keep on referring back to history.
Yes, because history.
Because you have to be guided by history. History.
And it's such a
teacher. History is a teacher.
You're talking about you know the antecedents of the current Russian president. He's a former KGB agent. He has the same Soviet Union thinking that bordered in the Cold War, and he has his own grouses about how the Cold War ended, which informs his decisions. No, he has a certain belief that Russia should dominate all the territories around it, and anybody who decides that that is not the case and that should be followed, he has an issue with that country. Why do you think territories like Finland spend so much on defense? It's because they are afraid of what Russia will do.
Siobhan, can I just, before I wrap up this thing here, can I just see where you're going wrong in here? You keep on saying a former agent of KGB.
What is he then?
What's the difference between KGB and FBI and CIA? Who has gone around the world and assassinated more presidents than CIA?
I'm sorry, what? You know what this betrays?
I have to call pause. I have to call pause. I have a time signal I have to take.
You know what this betrays in your thinking, sir?
Thank you for the call. Thank you, Siobhan. Let's take the time signal.
The national budget is everybody's business because it impacts every Jamaican. The time brought to you by the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service is...
It's 7:47.
I am going to read an excerpt of the speech King George gave to the people of the United Kingdom on September 3, 1939, when he told them the country was again at war with Germany. And I'll read it in relevant part. For the second time in the lives of most of us, we are at war. Over and over again, we have tried to find a peaceful way out of the differences between ourselves and those who are now our enemies, but it has been in vain. We have been forced into a conflict, for we are called, with our allies, to meet the challenge of a principle which, if it were to prevail, would be fatal to any civilized order in the world. And this is the part. It is a principle which permits a state, in the selfish pursuit of power, to disregard its treaties and its solemn pledges, which sanctions the use of force or threat of force against the sovereignty and independence of other states. The monarch went on to say, such a principle, stripped of all disguise, is surely the mere primitive doctrine that might is right. And if this principle were established through the world, the freedom of our own country and of the whole British Commonwealth of Nations would be in danger. I think that perfectly sums up what is happening now. A primitive belief that might is right. Jamaica don't have a big army, right? We rely on the international norms, as the caller said, the Western norms.
Imagine if those principles broke down.
Precisely. No small island state, no country that considered itself sovereign, that don't have a big army or nuclear weapons or powerful allies to come to its defense would be safe. That is the principle that is at stake.
And that is the world that China and Russia hope for, where they can simply manifest their territorial conquests.
Yeah.
China wants Taiwan. The US is blocking them from doing that. Russia wants Ukraine and most of those Eastern European countries, including Finland. The US is blocking them from doing that. It is as simple as that.
Yeah. It is defense of a principle. This is a defense of a principle. And as a people that live in a country like our own, I stand with the West. I think a former Prime Minister say that we are with the West. I am with the West.
And
because that principle, in my mind, is important and worth defending. Because if it does not exist, as Siobhan said, there are bad faith actors who would just run across borders and seize territory. I don't think the world can operate that way.
And it should have been brought home more recently in terms of what happened between Venezuela and Guyana.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I forgot about that. Precisely. You can't just get up and just take people's territory and say it's your own and force them into conflict, or try to cause them to bend and bow. No. Mm-mm.
People are bringing up the NATO treaty with Russia, but do you understand the circumstances under which that treaty was written in terms of the Cold War ideology?
Who's next?
I think people need to understand.
CG, good
do
evening.
some historical research. The problem is, too long, and I'm going to be brutal here, we've adopted in the post-colonial world this belief that anything West is evil, anything West should be opposed, when there are good reasons for why the Western world is shaped the way it is and the principles that underpin it. I don't know if any Jamaican here living in Jamaica would reasonably want to live under a regime such as exists in China or Russia or North Korea, for that example. You enjoy your freedom here to disparage me and cuss me because I take a certain view.
Right.
You could not go in front of the, what's it called again? The Russian parliamentary building. What's it remind me?
I forget.
The Kremlin. Thank you. The Kremlin. You could not in good faith go in front of the Kremlin and hold up a sign and say Putin is evil and not find yourself carted off to jail. You could never go in Beijing and do that either and not find yourself carted off to jail. God knows what would happen to you if you did that in North Korea. Heaven help you there. All of these principles is what underpins the liberal democracies that exist in the West that you benefit from. But you find it so hard to believe that there is a reason those principles should be defended. I just find that strange.
CG.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing?
Doing all right.
All right.
They must send up Siobhan blood pressure.
No problem. Hear me now.
No problem.
You guys say this is intelligent radio, right?
Yes.
All right. So, notwithstanding that, or perhaps because of that, I'd like to invite you to come out into left field with me for a little.
Sure.
What might ultimately even be regarded as spiritual reasoning, but we'll try and keep it.
Go ahead. We're open-minded here.
Open to that. Let's go.
Cool. Okay. So there are some folks who believe that there is a creator who is in charge of this whole thing, right?
Absolutely.
Who and the thing is run. There's a mystery of iniquity and there's a mystery of righteousness, and this creator is in charge of both principles. Okay? Yeah. Now, and more practically, there are those who believe that this creator is the one, and there are scriptural references to that, who sets up kings and puts them down.
Right.
Him responsible for Trump being where he is and for Zelensky, etc., etc., etc. Right?
Right.
Right. So now, if not everybody will accept that, especially if they want to be dictators, right?
Yeah, man.
But okay, but it's a background, there are a principle that should be clear to everybody now, right? And that people should understand and be able to relate to is that okay? That not only there's also in that same place that says that this creator, right, is the owner. He owns all the cattle on 1,000 hills. Well, people might not remember him owned the hills them too, right? And all souls, he says, meaning that come down to people, are his. They belong to him, right? So in terms of land and territory and what have you, any country, any one of us, if we want to go back to the if we go back far enough, we will find that we are migrants and we have no, for want of a better term, God-given right to be in any place because we never come from there to begin with anyway, right?
Chronics calls it capture land.
All of them things, right? So now, if we understand that every area belongs to the Creator, and Him is the one who caused you to be where you are, then the least that people should do, especially rulers now who are civilized and what have you, right, is to understand that nobody has the right to invade any other territory, right?
Yes.
Even if he figure that he have some good reason. Because the fact is, if he has some good reasons, right, then what should happen is that he should negotiate and try. Nobody has the right to try and take back anything from anybody by force, right? In the circumstances, because them don't own nothing, right? Everything belongs to the Creator, and Him is the one who owns everything, right? So they need to get to the point of understanding and appreciating that. And for any progress to be made. As to whether that is likely to happen anytime soon, that's another story.
All right, thanks for the call, CG. Appreciate it.
They said God has a divine plan. And, you know, if you look back on history, I love looking back at history. And that statement about the march of history tends to always go toward the arm of justice. And it seems to be the case so far. But when you live in a time of tumultuousness, it's hard to actually agree with that principle. We will see what happens in the coming days and how things work out. And I'm sure others will look back on this moment in history and reminisce. But, boy, it's hard to have that kind of level of faith in terms of what I've seen recently. But the world is as the world is.
Dana Davy? Thank you. Them send up Shaman blood pressure. You have something they use and squeeze the hand and look if any blood pressure on it. They send up in blood pressure. My God. You alright?
Boy. History is one of my favorite topics. And when it comes to the impact that liberal democracies have had on the rights of people in history, and you know what? One can accept that the United States has not always been a beacon of truth and stability, and there's always been problems found with what the colonizers, as they like to put it, have done. But
you're with the West.
I'm with the West.
I'm with the West as well, my friend. Dana Davy, Andrew Glenn Anderson, thank you so much. Our editor, Kimon Thompson, our colleagues in the newsroom, they're the very best in the business. Hello, Cara. Good evening. Hope you're not doing too badly, my friend. Our callers, contributors, and you, our valued listeners, thank you for joining us. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
In blood pressure high, you know.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome.